I'm delighted to welcome back onto the First Time Facilitator podcast, Michael Bungay Stanier. Michael, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
I am delighted to be on this show because it wasn't that long ago that you said, I'm just going to shutter up this podcast. I'm done with it. I'm moving on. And I was like, why don't you keep it going, or at least not shut yet? Because it's so good. You've got so many great people. Who knows if you come back to it or not? And look, here we are firing off a new episode. So you're welcome, Leanne.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like in the moment, I'm like, I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to move on to something else, like burn the ship. And what has happened is it's just been a fun thing, like pop up episodes every now and then to talk to great people like yourself. And look, Michael, the first time we ever podcasted was in Brisbane in
It was
2019. What do you remember about that
exactly.
interview?
I remember we went up to this building. You were there. You were a bit nervous. I was a bit nervous. We had somebody helping us out with cameras and mics and stuff like that. So we got that great photo of the two of us kind of looking slightly cheesy around that. And that was the start of something great between us, because we've remained friends since then. You were part of the audiobook for the Advice Trap, which was a total thrill to have you speak some of the text of that. And of course, we're plotting and planning this fabulous event early September in Brisbane as well. So, um, I was saying this before we hit record, but one of your superpowers for sure is this ability to not just connect with people, but to build relationships with people. I feel very lucky to know you.
Oh,
I love the series you're doing with Alan Weiss at the moment. Alan Weiss is a legend in the consulting world. Like when I first moved into consulting 25 years ago, I bought the $1 million consulting book of his, and I'm like, don't charge per hour, charge per value, all sorts of stuff he taught me then. So I'm like, "Ah, you are fabulous at that." So
well, uh, thank you. I don't want to
yeah.
interrupt you, but no, just I'm just joking. No, but I just realized it's a full circle moment because the reason I know about Alan Weiss is because of you. Like I did this episode and it was just asking people what's their advice for anyone starting their facilitation business. And you said, listen to or read $1 Million Consulting. And so
Oh, that's great.
yes, how funny. So you mentioned you're coming back to Brizzy. What
And
brings you back in September?
I'm giving a couple or three actually different keynotes while I'm up there. I've got this great trip to Australia. I've got some work in Sydney in mid-August. I've got some work in Brisbane for the second week of September. I'm seeing my mum and my family in the middle of that with my wife, maybe trying to get my mum on a road trip down to Adelaide. So we've got some fun things planned. But knowing that I had two or three events happening in Brisbane, I reached out to my favorite Brisbane person and went, look, I'm going to be there. Can we not do something together? And in your typical style, within 48 hours, you had a page set up, you had a place booked, and then within what 72 hours, we had 100 people signed
I
up. And it was
know.
like, it was so good. This is going to be
So,
such a great event. Yeah.
so great. And what do you think? I mean, I'm so pumped that people like, I guess, backed us. Um, so our topic is how to face change. And maybe it's a topic, maybe it's the rooftop, maybe it's perhaps you being there. What do you think is so exciting about this event?
I suspect it's that you have a pretty loyal following and you're a really fantastic facilitator. So there's a fair bet that if Leanne Hughes is showing up, it's going to be a good experience. And I suspect I've got a loyal following and people might feel the same about some of what I do as well. So that's great. And I think that people can would be curious to know what you and I are like when we're working together. Because honestly, as a facilitator, it is in some ways another level of mastery to co-facilitate with somebody. I still remember early days of me facilitating and just doing a really bad job at co-facilitating with somebody. I was the lead facilitator. She was the kind of less senior person. And she fluffed some of her lines and I came in very heavy-handed to kind of fix it, and it only made it worse. She lost face, I lost face, the client was confused. It's taken me quite a long time to figure out some of the principles I have around co-facilitation. And I think we haven't talked about this, but it occurs to
Mm.
me that as you and I work together and lead this experience around change for a couple of hours, one of the things that we might do is every now and then just tell people what we're doing that makes the facilitation work. So I kind of do that meta commentary around this is how we're manipulating the room, because that's what a facilitator does. They manipulate the room. So for the sake of the room, for the sake of the participants.
Mhm.
These are the rules of engagement Leanne and Michael have set up with themselves so that they can be fully present and be of service to the people in the room.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that. My favorite thing to watch on YouTube now is like the Gogglebox reactions on things, like taking that meta level and seeing what is going on behind the scenes. I think that's a really good call if we're just commentating over the
Yeah,
top of what we do.
exactly.
And even if things don't work, it might be fun to pause it there and go, we tried
Especially if things
this.
don't work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you're
there's
like, look,
crickets.
this is what's happening, you know, and
Yeah.
this is what I'm noticing, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm not showing you, and this is what I am showing you. All those choices you make as a facilitator. Because as a facilitator, you're managing the content, and then you're managing the audience's interaction with the content, and then you're managing the audience's interaction between individuals, and then you're managing the flow of the arc of the experience, and then you're managing the energy in the room, and then you're managing your own anxiety and uncertainty about what the hell is happening and why did I sign up for this gig and what am I doing here. So there's like at least 7 different kind of spheres of energy that you're managing at any one time. And it's really helpful, and it's part of mastery if you can go, oh look, this is the ball I'm about to drop, or this is the ball I did drop, but watch me pick it up and be unfazed about it.
And I think, I mean, the value of co-facilitation, I find it just instantly, my anxiety around it is like split in, it's not even split in half. It's like 20% of what it would be if I was on my
Yeah,
own. Because I've got someone not only to obviously share the experience and to bounce off as well, but also to validate, in between breaks, or like just to check
yeah,
in, because you don't really have that when you're alone with a group. You can ask participants, but you really just want to go, hey, just let me know, what do you think, and how do you think this is
exactly.
going? Yeah.
What's your key, if you're teaching me, what would be your key tip or guidance around how to co-facilitate well? I've got a tip and I'll share in a minute, but I'm curious to know what yours would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I think logistically, it's nice to know in which segment is someone taking the lead and who isn't. And so actually being
Sure.
like defining those roles.
Yeah.
What I think, if we were going to look at like ninja facilitation, what I know, my friend Sally Prosser and I recently co-facilitated an event, and I think the transition, managing that is really important. So she would look at me and give me a look, and then it took me maybe 2 seconds to be like, all right, that's my time to. So that was like white belt. I think black belt is there's no need to do that. She just finishes a point, I'm in, and it's kind of seamless. And that I think is really great
Yeah.
co-facilitation, knowing when to step in and when to step back.
The, the, the tactic that was taught me by my friend Mark is called My Friend is Amazing. And the job of the person who is not in the moment, not in the spotlight, is to gaze at that other person with adoration and nodding their head. Like even if you've heard what they said 8,000 times before, you're nodding your head, you're going, this is pretty fantastic. Occasionally looking at the audience and nodding and then looking back to the other person because they're giving this strong signal that this person is a friend. My friend is amazing. How lucky are you, the audience, to be
Mhm.
listening to this? Because she is incredible. Because the audience responds to the strongest signal in the room. And as a facilitator, the assumption should be you're the strongest signal in the room. So if
Mm.
you're bored or distracted or worried about what your section is, what's coming up next, then the audience picks up that you're bored or distracted or anxious or whatever it might be. If you're just going, look, my friend is amazing. This is great. And then the other rule that's connected to that is if the other person steps in, you step off. You're like, of course they're stepping in. Even when you're like, I don't know why you're stepping in right now. I was like in this perfect moment and I was just about to land a joke. But if they step in, you step off and you move into my friend is amazing. You're like, this is so perfect that you've stepped in right now. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say. And it is you're doing it A, because it creates safety between the two of you, and secondly, because it signals to the audience you both think each other's amazing, and the audience is like, I should be, even if I'm not enjoying it, I really should be, because look at Michael, he's like nodding like a nodding maniac up there, but not presenting.
I love that. And so I guess what I'm hearing from you is whenever you're co-facilitating, you're never really off. I guess some people think, oh, great, I don't have this 2-hour thing, so I can just relax. It's like, no, you've got to be like active, stay engaged, and be that
Yeah.
signal. And I even
I mean,
think,
if you're off,
oh, sorry.
get out
Yeah.
of the room. Like you should be out of the
Yeah.
room if you're
Yeah.
off. If you're in the room, you're on because
Yes.
everybody's watching you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I even think that when you're talking about, I mean, that's Mark Bowden, right? What a really
That's
cool,
my buddy.
really
Yeah.
great tip. But I even think sometimes when I've put on a video in a workshop, and maybe I've seen it a million times, but I watch the video and I laugh whenever you know what I mean? As in, even though I've seen it a million times, but to sort of create that signal for everyone else. Why do you think people should come along?
What's great about this is it sold itself. In fact,
Yeah,
it will probably sell out. So we don't have to sell this. We're
yeah,
actually giving people who are listening to this a kind of heads up that you should act pretty fast if you want to join, because we're down to like, I think what, 30 seats left, if
yeah.
that. Um, so I think if you're a facilitator, you'll get to see two wonderful facilitators facilitate, and you can learn just from that. You don't even need to care about the content, which is going to be about change. But if you're interested in change at all, whether that's you individually about how you learn and how you grow, or whether it's people that you might coach or facilitate how they learn and shift and grow. If you're curious about why people resist change, if you're curious about how and why organizations sometimes change and sometimes don't change, well, then that's what we're going to be digging into. I've done a lot of thinking, um, and I'm going to launch probably next year a whole new piece of thinking and IP and models around change, which I will reveal in Brisbane. First time I like a public kind of unveiling. So it's like a world exclusive. But we're going to get into kind of some of the deeper areas of how change works. And what's really exciting is it plays beautifully into the work you do around agency and courage and making stuff happen, which,
Mm.
as well as connecting with people is one of your other great superpowers. I said, within 72 hours, we'd sold 100 tickets to this thing, which we didn't even know what it was about. And I'm like, that's not down to Michael, that's down to Leanne Hughes. So you teaching around agency is going to be perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, it's always nice to get a momentum and to see people sort of voting and backing what we've created as well. And it is a world first. I've seen the model, been very blessed to see it, and so excited. I will be. I mean, now that people hear this, like, oh, Leanne's just nodding and getting excited to support Michael and be that friend. It's like, no, I actually love this model, and I think it's gonna be very powerful. If you are in an organization, a leader, a consultant, all of those great things. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for being on the show, Michael. I can't wait to see you in Brisbane very soon.
Dan, what are you most excited about?
Oh, I mean, I kind of wish I was a participant actually, because I'm excited about all the incredible people that are going to be there. I
I
actually
know.
emailed the venue today and I said, they got back to me. I said, look, if we're having great conversations at 6 o'clock, will you like kick us out? And they said, no. If people are enjoying themselves, we'll keep the place open. Because that's what
That's
I was most.
fantastic.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about working with you. Like, I just can't believe it. It's a real pinch me moment. So,
Oh,
and
fabulous. Thank you.
yeah, no, so thank you. And I'm just excited about the experience we can create and the people that are going to be there. And it's going to be amazing. So
It is.
yeah, excellent. Thanks for
Hey,
being on the show,
see you
Michael.
soon.
See
Yeah,
you
of
soon.
course. See you live and present, not very long, like less than 2 months away.
Yeah, I know. It's creeping up.